What's up?
Did it just flash us very quickly beforehand?
Did it? I didn't notice if it did. But what I did notice is that time as it was playing our opening, StreamYard gave me a progression bar. So I knew exactly when the opening was going to end, which I've never noticed before.
Interesting. What I saw was like right before it started, I saw our faces because I was like sitting there like this, and all of a sudden I was like, boom. I was like, wait, what? I was like, huh?
I'm going to have to go back and look. I feel like something like that happened once before where we were like sitting there like I think maybe it was the ending when we're just sitting here for like 10 minutes waiting for the live stream to end.
Yeah, the ending has definitely messed up more than the beginning, but glitches are fun.
You got your fancy drink today.
Yeah, yes, super goddamn fancy. It's been a long week and it's just a refreshing little White Claw.
Understandable. You got a good shirt on today too.
Oh yeah.
Is that one new?
Yeah.
I've never seen that one before.
They just did the Child's Play collection number 1.
Who's they?
Cavity Colors.
Oh, okay.
They just did collection number 1 of Child's Play, which is like makes obviously teeing up. There's a collection 2, and I'm very fingers crossed on Bride of Chucky merch.
Whatever happened to? I always thought that. Now, obviously, I looked at Cavity Colors now, and I already see shit I want to buy. But I always thought that they did a Scream one earlier in the year, timed to the Scream 5 release, and I thought that they were going to release another like volume of that too, and it never happened.
They might later because like they do them throughout the year, so they might be tying it to something else. But yeah, I thought they were going to too. So that they might have only done it for the original the new Scream. I don't know.
There's some good stuff here. I feel like I'm gonna have to buy one of these new Killer Clowns shirts.
Oh, I saw those. Yeah.
There's some good. There's also some good Halloween ones. The Halloween hoodie is really cool.
Yeah, and obviously as it gets closer to actual Halloween, it's going to keep those going.
They also have a summer slasher sale, Matt.
Mm-hmm. I know, I saw that. They changed I don't know if they changed them for good, but I got the Child's Play joggers, the sweatpants.
Oh, those were nice. I'm literally looking at them right now.
But they changed how they fit. Like the joggers, like they were comfortable and baggy, like the ones that you have, like the ones that we both have, the Killer Clowns, those stuff. Like I like those fit because they were like comfy, loungy, I guess to say. These ones are like much tighter, and they're kind of like they fit like like a much tighter sweatpants, but like it's tight around like my ankles. They fit like skinny jeans versus just baggy.
Why would someone want tight sweatpants? If you're gonna buy tight sweatpants, you just buy leggings.
Right. So that's like I wasn't expecting it. Yeah.
I
put them on and I was just like, did I changes? I'm like, did the sizes change? What happened? Like, no, they just got a new manufacturer or something.
I dressed for one of our topics today. I feel like I might have worn this on our last live stream too, but I didn't care because we were I definitely wore it recently. I can't forget what I wore it on though.
I think you're clean with it with live stream. You're not double dipping.
God forbid I repeat a graphic tee like we haven't done that 500 times before.
2 weeks ago too. I think you're okay.
Hello everyone. We've got a whole bunch of people here and already a super chat from Neil. I appreciate it, Neil. Thank you so much, and thank you for supporting the show as always. Neil is also part of the Fantasy Football League, which I'll lock in officially our draft time soon, but this is it. It's happening. I'm very excited, Matt. Very excited.
I have a draft tomorrow. I have our draft, and then we have our other draft.
Yeah, I'm just so excited to have a hobby.
Well, we have our Critics draft the day after yours, so like treat yours like a pre-draft, and then.
Okay, so how that went last year, I vividly remember this, was I thought I crushed the Patreon draft. Like, I thought I was solid, had never drafted a better team in my life. And then I thought I totally fucked up the Critics League draft. And it wound up being the complete opposite, where I only lost one game in the Critics League. And I just like kept losing and losing and losing in the Patreon one.
Because the more you think about it, the better you feel, the worse it always is. Like literally, that's fantasy football for some reason. I can't
pay attention to the grades.
Well, definitely don't pay attention to the grades, but also just like your feelings, like, oh, this team's like it's the beginning of the season, injuries happen, pick up. I'm proud.
I see Tommy here. Every single time we have this conversation, I think about his draft last year and then how his team wound up doing for a good chunk of the league.
Well,
and it's just like,
a good chunk.
Yeah, I know. Eventually, I think it ran out a little bit, but it was still quite the impressive,
It was.
like half a season at least.
Sometimes the drafts you never expect.
Jeez. All right. What topics do we have today? What do you want to talk about first? Do you want to pick?
I mean, do you want to go title? Do you want to go with your shirt? I don't know.
Oh, the title. Yeah.
Oh, there is a title topic.
There is a title to this episode of the Merri Hour. Let me just pull up the article really quick. Jurassic World. And of course, it is right here. So, the title topic of today's episode stems from a quote that Steve actually got, Collider's Steve Weintraub, of course, from Colin Trevorrow when they were in Malta for that trip that promoted the at-home release of the movie. And I think the way he got at it was he basically asked him if an R-rated Jurassic World movie would ever be on the table. And here's the quote. Trevorrow had said, "It's hard to answer that question. I don't know. I do know that if we made A Quiet Place, if we made a hard R, really scary version, potentially very contained, I know I'd want to see that movie. If a parent took their kid to that movie and horrified them for life, I know that would be a problem. Look, I don't want to put any cuffs on whoever has a vision for this in the future. All I know is that people love dinosaurs. People love movies with dinosaurs in them. And I know people love the world that Jurassic Park author Michael Crichton created. The reason why there are dinosaurs and humans in the same place, that sci-fi idea, is a brilliant idea. From there, I feel like someone else should come to us."
Like, it's such a dance around quote
I know,
so many
it
ways.
really
Like,
is.
there's nothing there that confirms nor denies. Like,
No.
I don't even know if he sounds excited about it, because he starts out by saying, like, yeah, if we made something like A Quiet Place, I'd want to see that. Which, again, an interesting topic to say, A Quiet Place, but also I get it. Like, if you have a contained raptor movie where like it's a spin-off of Jurassic Park or something, and you're able to have that violent raptor film, you can do A Quiet Place type stalk prey film. But then he goes on to say the stuff about, like,
Isn't even rated R.
Oh, is it? That's right. Yeah, it's not rated R. So, like, he picked a PG-13 movie.
I mean, I wonder if maybe that's what he meant by it. Maybe not.
That
No,
threw
I
me
think
on its own.
I was about to say, like, maybe he brought A Quiet Place up as in saying a movie that felt like an R but really was PG-13, but then the follow-up of the quote wouldn't align with that, so that makes no sense.
Well, and then he also goes on to say, like, oh, I'd be excited to see what someone else does it, but at the same time, he's saying, like, I'd be mad if parents brought their kids to it, but, like, why would parents bring their kids to a hard R-rated dress? Like, there's just so many parts of that quote that are like, he just won't, like, he won't say anything about it. Like, if I almost feel like he doesn't like the idea from that quote, because he refuses to say it outright, but he dances around so many things. I feel like he just doesn't want to say that.
I wonder if maybe that speaks more to his involvement in the like, maybe it's over, you know?
I mean, I think it is over. I think
I mean, you never know if maybe he's still involved in some sort of like executive producer capacity, but I wonder if that. And again, like we're busy assessing the tone of a quote without actually hearing how he said these words, but maybe any lack of enthusiasm comes from the fact that he is likely not going to direct another movie. I don't know, just speculating.
Yeah, and it also gets down to the same thing that, like, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Like, we've joked about if we got a hard R-rated Jurassic Park, and the stuff that if it actually. Crichton's books themselves are very violent and, like, over the top gory. So, like, a true adaptation probably would be R. But in the same sense, it comes down to storytelling. Like, I want to see the hard R if you write the right hard R movie about Jurassic Park.
I think about this a lot, which is why I sent you this particular article for the episode. But, as I read Crichton's book and as I pictured it, just referring to the first one at least, I envisioned everything as in being R. Like when deaths happen, I pictured the R-rated versions of them. But then I think about what they did in the first Jurassic movie, and it very much has a heavy horror tinge to it, but without the blood and the gore that would demand the R rating. So can I say that any kind of no matter what he does in the source material, like does it necessitate? Is it even necessary? Because I also will agree. So I want an R dinosaur movie. I want an R-rated Star Wars movie. I can go on and on. So I want an R-rated Marvel movie.
Do it all.
But I do very much understand what he's saying about kids walking away from a movie like that terrified, because Jurassic Park is a big reason that I'm here at all. And just thinking about, like, what if another kid was in that theater with a new installment that was too much in our territory and then it turned them off? I mean, I guess we can't, put that responsibility on every single movie out there, but I do understand the idea of like the magic of humans and dinosaurs living side by side, always having some sort of, close to 4-quadrant appeal, at least.
Fucking Simon.
Where is Simon?
Just the second to last comment.
Second to last comment. What? Oh, Jurassic.
But no, I think that is the thing where it's not on the film. I think it's on the parents who bring their kids to a movie like Deadpool. Like Amelia just texted me like, yeah, a bunch of parents brought their kids to Deadpool because they're like, oh, it's a superhero movie. And yeah, it is. But it says on the box, it's an R-rated superhero movie. So like, that is not the film's fault. Like that is on whoever, the parent, the guardian, whoever's bringing the kid to that film. So like I like that part of the conversation, I don't understand. Again, like it's more just, are you doing an R rating for the hell of it and you don't have a reason, you just want to make it R? Because there are plenty of PG-13 horror films that are tremendously scary. Like, I mean, like Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, PG-13. You got some Wan movies in there, PG-13. Like you just said A Quiet Place. Like you can do terribly scary without doing R. So when you bring in the R, you have to necessitate, like, is it being gory for gore's sake? Mm-hmm. Is it just like a Saw sequel? Is it all these things? Or is there something to the storytelling where like the violence actually amps up the tension and it actually makes it more intense in that way? So I'm all for it. I'm for it as long as you do those things right. It's not just gratuitous for gratuity's sake.
Yeah. I feel like I'm veering away from an R-rated Jurassic World movie specifically because it doesn't feel necessary to me. Look how scary that first one is, and you didn't need it to be R-rated. But then I go back to what he said in the quote, if it's contained. If the movie very specifically does feel like some sort of like contained offshoot that isn't part of the main franchise, so to speak, then that's where I think you could probably like play with dark and have some fun.
Well, I was gonna say I would love some kind of like talking about Alien and Predator and how they're doing contained stories now for like streaming and stuff like that. Like I would love a contained talking about raptors again. What if it's just contained to like raptors escaping in a facility and it's just like a group of whoever's there having to like escape the facility, and then you get like an Alien kind of vibe where like it's not about a onslaught of multiple dinosaurs. Maybe it's just a few raptors contained, super tense, super people creeping around corners and trying to like navigate while these raptors are walking around. Like I would 100% watch that.
I'm trying to play the Final Destination game with this now, where I like am thinking of a setting like somehow a raptor gets on a cruise ship and then everybody is at risk of being eaten by a raptor at sea.
Well, you can do it in the sense in the Jurassic World universe where, maybe mercenaries are trying to buy these dinosaurs to outfit them as weapons. And maybe a group of mercenaries does buy a raptor. They put it on a boat. They're shipping it somewhere to like their base or something. And midway, the raptor gets out. So now you have these like despicable mercenaries and the raptor who is killing them one by one.
It could even be an in-between story, a story that takes place in between the auction of Fallen Kingdom and what we see in Dominion, where one of those wealthy, terrible people who bought a dinosaur tries to get it back to wherever they're going, and the thing gets loose.
Mm-hmm. Exactly that. Like that right there is how you do it.
Now my mind is spinning out of control because I also started to think about Battle at Big Rock. And I feel like something like that can't be R-rated because you do have the kids involved, and that feels like it might, better suit PG-13. But now I keep picturing it like it's like the opening of the 2009 Friday the 13th movie, but with dinosaurs instead of Jason.
Like, yeah. I mean, like, yes, that is again one of the answers.
I don't know why those were that was like the specific horror movie visual that I had to marry with dinosaurs.
Yeah. Because it's the stoners in the freaking middle of nowhere. You're in the woods, and if this is a area populated by dinosaurs, you're there by your own mistake. And well, Jason operates like a dinosaur sometimes. I don't know. He's just a killing machine.
Dilophosaurus in a subway tunnel. Because now I'm thinking about the thing in Dominion.
Oh, when it's in the tunnel. But I mean, like the other thing too.
Dimetrodons in a subway tunnel or a tunnel that people walk in.
That would be interesting. But like, there is the other side of it where you can keep doing Jurassic Park PG-13 the way you're doing it, and there are other like dino properties you can use in a sense. Like you can adapt the video game Dino Crisis, which is a hardcore horror game.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Okay, transition.
Technically, Victor beat you to it. We'll give Victor the credit here. Thank you for the super chat, though. Hey, Perri and Matt, my 2 cents opinion, a Dino Crisis film adaptation would be better.
So after Fallen Kingdom, that's what I said about Bayona, Bayona, correct? Yeah. Because like watching Fallen Kingdom, it was like, this dude should get a crack at a Dino Crisis film because he's doing all the stuff in the house correctly and he's doing things with the mercenaries and stuff like that. So I would 100% be there. I also said after watching Prey, Dan Trachtenberg should absolutely do a Turok movie. Somebody else mentioned Turok in the chat. I did see that one. And for those who didn't play the games, like Turok is a dinosaur hunter. It's very much like prehistoric and that stuff. It's the games are like mad fun. So I think you can have fun in both of those worlds and you can make them campy and pulpy and do all the fun things with dinos and make it hard R because those games are driven to that material. Like they're more made for it, where I agree. I think on the whole, like the Jurassic World, Jurassic Park films have driven that franchise to stay PG-13.
Dan Trachtenberg should also do anything and everything he wants right now.
Yeah. Oh my God, Prey rules. Prey is so good.
I've watched Prey so many times. So many times. It's firmly in my top 10 right now. I'm also like with every passing week, I get more and more stressed about how many movies are in contention for my top 10. I'm gonna have a real
even like horror. Like my horror top 10 alone is just like,
It's really like wild. I'm going to really have a tough December to get through trying to whittle that list down.
Oh no, film critic problems.
Yeah, you're really. Mike Joyce is here. Thank you for the super chat, Mike. The next Jurassic movie should be a slasher movie with a dino-human hybrid that escaped a lab and goes on a killing spree. I mean, I'd watch that too.
It wasn't that was like one of the ideas, right? Like that was one of the never-made scripts. Like
I remember they released concept art with a dino-human hybrid that legit looked like a thing of nightmares. It was awful. But I mean, I don't think Universal will ever do this, but I would still watch it if someone made it.
And that was a whole thing about like there was like a Deep Blue Sea that they were trying to make with like hybrids and stuff like that and mercenaries and insane stuff. And that is so contained to like a 90s element and like a 90s mentality. But I think we should get back there. I think like that's something where I want to watch the silliness. I want to watch those movies every now and then. Like don't take themselves seriously for a lick. I don't know. I feel like someone mentioned Anaconda in the chat before. And like, I want an era of like Anaconda, Deep Blue Sea to come back.
I feel like, I don't know why this idea just popped into my head, but I feel like another like cool offbeat idea, because also I keep thinking of the hybrid idea and how mankind is obsessed with like messing with genetics and tailoring things to suit our needs. Something where, like a company starts selling small sized dinos as pets and something goes wrong with that. And it's like you think you have this little thing and then it just, I don't know.
It's maybe like that's Prehysteria.
Well, I'm also obsessed with Prehysteria.
I used to watch it all the time.
I'm obsessed with Prehysteria as in I grew up with those movies as a kid, and I do always keep meaning to go back and just like I'm curious if they're any good at all.
No. I mean, as kids' films, they are. There's like a miniature golf thing and stuff like that.
Yes, if you remember that. That's
I appreciate
the second one. The second one.
I think that's two.
Or the train. There's a train too. I think the train is the poster in the second one.
It's been a while for me. I'm going to be honest.
I think about Prehysteria every once in a while.
Hit this soupy.
David is here. Thank you so much for this one, David. Thoughts on the report from Wall Street Journal about Cineworld going into bankruptcy and what it might mean for the future of cinema? I'm going to pull this article up really.
Basically, Cineworld was down like 60%. And they just reported, and they are the second highest chain at this point. So the fact is, I mean, no, it's been a much slower return to cinemas than anyone could have predicted. And yes, like streaming has changed things. And I like I'm not surprised. Do I think that it's like also doomsday? Not yet, but in the same regard, like, yes, theaters have to figure something out because things aren't going back to normal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm reading the CNN article on it, which is very, fact-based, and it's mainly because I probably would have a paywall on Wall Street Journal.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know, it feels like I understand that it's a different situation right now, post-ish pandemic, and given
Mhm.
how the market's changed and how distribution has changed and all that stuff, but it does feel like we have this conversation in one form or another every cyclically. We have it
Continually.
nonstop, and
Yep.
it's just it's just like a different set of rules that we're playing by. So, I mean, of course it's alarming and it's disappointing, but I'm hoping that some sort of I guess the only term I can really think of is Band-Aid. Some sort of
Yeah.
financial
Mhm.
Band-Aid is applied and we move on to the next phase and then we have this conversation again in a couple months.
Well, because it's the same thing where I mean, obviously this is very LA centric, but like this, the ArcLight going down, like the ArcLight goes bankrupt, can't be a theater anymore, so it's closed, and the report is it's being reopened. So where everything might be changed, like a company might be failing now because they were still in the old methods and they have to do what they have to do. But as those companies go bankrupt and as new people come in and new idea makers start happening and other companies with much more money can put their money into it, like I just feel like things are changing and shifting, and maybe money's changing hands and maybe ownership changes hands. But I mean, like, it's not the death of theaters. Like, they're not going away. Like, the Alamo Drafthouse is still opening new theaters. Like, there's still indie theaters. They're doing fine. So yeah.
Trying to look up this Mendelsohn report that Travis referenced, but I only
Mhm.
see an article on Forbes from another writer. I wanted to verify this before addressing it, but there being a lack of content, which I'm like I wanted to find the source article because I don't quite understand how you could
Yeah.
apply that to our current situation.
Mendelssohn's also written some things that I don't agree with, so that's par for the course.
Wonder if maybe it's in this article.
Blames there being a lack of
Cineworld has since struggled to generate liquidity and repay that debt, recently warning that a lack of big budget films in the fall is likely to further impact depressed attendance numbers. I don't see it that way. I mean, pre-pandemic, what were we getting? 2 Marvel movies a year? And I'm just isolating it to one franchise as an example,
Mhm.
but what were we getting? 2 Marvel movies a year, and now
Yeah.
we're getting 3 or 4, plus
Yeah.
multiple DC movies as well, and those are some of the biggest of the big, so I don't know. I mean, I'm
Also, we
obviously
have
not doing the math and comparing data very specifically right now. It's off the top of my head, but that doesn't seem like the landscape to me.
Yeah, I don't agree with that at all. I feel like we're kind of getting back into like, I mean, something like August is usually a down month, obviously in terms of quality, but like everything comes out now like May, June, July, August kind of is on a little downslope. So
Mhm.
us saying like Beast is the biggest release this week still is like it's a pretty
Well,
decent sized release, and I think it's more about it's I think it's less about the movies and more about the people, the movies that people will go see in theaters now, because we talked about something like Moonfall.
yeah.
I think in a different landscape, Moonfall makes a hell of a lot more money than it does.
Mhm.
But in these landscapes, people have to decide, do I want to pay my tickets for Moonfall, or do I want to stay home and see what's ever streaming, or do I just want to wait for it to hit streaming? Because like it's still a thing. I know windows are finally changing again, and different studios are like basically saying like, no, you're going to see this in the theater first, and we're getting a little bit back to that. But
Mm.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like that statement that we were just focusing on from the Forbes article is just like a like too much of a stripped down way of
Yeah.
putting it. It's like I can kind of see this being more of an issue when you factor in streaming and what people have available at home, because we spoke about this all the time in the
Yeah.
before times as well. The idea of, how many movies a year are you willing to shell out 20 plus bucks for, especially when we have so much content at home when we're already paying for streaming subscriptions. So, it would kind of make sense that if, let's say, you prioritize seeing 4 movies on the big screen every single year before streaming services were so prevalent, that maybe nowadays you probably pick 2. And again,
Right.
a very simple example I laid out there, but hopefully that kind of paints a picture of where my head's at.
Yes. Also to confirm, I misspoke and I meant like lockdown versus pandemic. I said pandemic. Yes, we are still in a pandemic for everyone commenting. I agree with you. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
I am fully vaxxed and all those things.
Yeah, I feel like you know, semantics. I've probably said post pandemic
Yeah.
quite a few
Like
times
I
myself.
mean like post lockdown, post quarantine, stuff like that, because again, semantics. But I think the streaming thing to me, like you said, is more of the counter there, I guess, to say it's not less content in theaters, it's more content on streaming and more things that you have to choose between. And even though that content's disappearing,
I can't. I can't keep up with all this shit. It's just I feel like I saw one filmmaker affected by all of that content being taken off of HBO Max,
mhm,
referring to it as their work being erased.
yeah, it is.
And like my heart just like shriveled up into a million pieces for them because I don't like technically it's not erased, but it kind of is erased.
No, so here's the thing. I need to. I don't want to go off my window because it'll make me all
Yeah.
jaggedy on the
Let me look
screen.
something up.
There's a Cartoon Network show right now that it's not only being erased from HBO Max, it's also being erased. Like all the soundtracks are being taken down. All the YouTube clips of it are taken off, and all physical media is being stopped
Is it
because
Summer Camp Island?
no, it's
Infinity
God.
Train.
Yes, Infinity Train. That's the one.
Okay.
So like literally, it's not just about leaving HBO Max. Like actually, like HBO Discovery is literally erasing these shows. Like erase is correct. Like it's literally going through and saying us declaring this as a property versus us erasing the show from existence. There's a cost benefit there. So like literally, they were looking at this show and not just saying it's off of HBO Max. It's literally not going to exist anymore. So like that is happening. That's what's happening literally.
That is it's like I honestly like don't even know what to say. I'm speechless because immediately as you were describing that, my mind went back, you know, a couple of years and, you know, I just caught myself thinking like I never thought this kind of scenario would ever be
Mm-hmm.
possible. It's like no matter how your movie does at the box office or whatnot, there's all like we talk about it all the time and a lot of times this is when a movie earns cult classic status. It's, you know, when it wasn't initially embraced, but because it exists elsewhere in other forms, then people wind up discovering it and you never know when or how your film or show can strike a
Yeah.
chord, and to completely eliminate the opportunity to do that is disappointing, and it takes away a big chunk of this industry and the idea of fandom in general.
And it's something I didn't read the article itself, but like people are asking kind of why, and it is something to do with taxes. It's not even about residual stuff like that, but it's something that they can claim versus something they can't claim, and for them the cost benefit is still better.
I can read from Gizmodo, which I
And
have
residuals
open
too.
right now. So in their article,
absolutely about residuals.
Okay, that's it.
Canning Batgirl was about taxes.
Okay, Batgirl taxes, so residuals would play into this.
yeah,
There
so
you go.
this Gizmodo article that cites Variety says that the cuts are being made in order to save money by not paying residuals to the creators, stars, crew members, or whoever else stood to make money when someone watched the shows, specials, etc. on HBO Max.
Yep, there you go.
Blah, 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 blah. And then this article also hypothesizes that all the money Warner Brothers Discovery would be paying out to the creators of all these shows for the next couple of years would be $10 million maximum. I honestly believe that it's a wild overestimation, but just to be safe. So I guess they're basically saying that it still makes no sense to have done that. By removing these from HBO Max and saving $10 million, Warner Brothers Discovery has gotten maybe 0.0034% closer to its goal of $3 billion. So what an unnecessary way to try to get at a big old number.
But and that's the thing we were talking about last time we were live streaming. It's just like, oh, we hope he, makes the right decisions and stuff like that. And like he can say everything he wants in the upfronts, he can say everything he wants on calls, but like the actions that Zaslav has taken, Discovery Warner does not care about anything. Like they don't care about art, they don't care about anything that they're saying. That like no creators are going to want to work for them, and that's going to create a product that is, I don't know yet, but it's not going to create a good product.
Man. That just stinks. As someone who is constantly talking about art over business, I mean, it's not like I didn't know it was true before, but it's especially upsetting to see it handled in this particular way.
Yeah, so literally all of those, all the animation shows, all that stuff, like it can just vanish, and that's the false promise of streaming again. Like all of these streaming wars and stuff like that, and everyone claiming like, oh, you'll have this catalog, like you can depend on this catalog and stuff like that. No, you can't, because this is the reality of streaming. Like literally, it's up to the company what they want to do, and if they want to take something off whenever they want, they're going to do that.
Reprioritize physical media. Here's a good one. Sam wants to know how your 5K went.
Hell yeah. My 5K went very well. Thank you for asking, Sam. I broke personal records on timing and all that stuff, so we did good, and we raised a ton of money. So I think we walked away with I think it was 1,200 about by the end of the day. So
wow.
I appreciate everyone last live stream who contributed to that. So did a little dent, did some work, and it was fun little 8 a.m. kind of brisk wake up on the beach of running around and getting sweaty and being like, oh my God.
Look nice. So they did this one on the beach instead.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This is on the beach.
Cool.
Dockweiler Beach.
Where?
Dockweiler.
Where's that?
Marina Del Rey area.
Okay.
So a little farther down, but like not too bad. It was all
Very
20 minutes without traffic. Yeah.
Nice to have a change of scenery.
It was. And luckily I didn't have to run on the sand. Like, God forbid I had to do that 5K on the sand. Like, no, we were on actual concrete. So
I love me some running, but I don't ever want to run on the beach.
No, I've done it before. Ain't got to do that again.
Ew. Sounds like a miserable experience for my knees. Liam is here. Thank you so much for the super chat. Liam finally watched Nope yesterday, and as someone who has a phobia of apes, I was legitimately terrified by the chimp scenes. Gonna need therapy, I think. Those scenes were upsetting. Very upsetting.
Rough for a lot of ways. I still go to the digestion scene though, and that's the one. That's the one I won't forget.
There's a lot. I mean,
did you know? I stop me if you've known this, but the one scene where, am I allowed to talk about that scene very quickly? And nope.
Which scene? The digestion scene?
Yeah. I won't say much about it.
Right,
I will just say that wasn't planned. That was actually added post-production because Jordan Peele was like, yo, wouldn't it be dope if we showed what happened inside at that point? So like that was all shot and done after like the movie was finished. Like that was a late edition add-on.
You know what that scene reminds me of? Killer Clowns from Outer Space a little. And that like the bubbles, the cotton candy bubbles.
Yeah, the cotton candy bubbles.
They really scared me as a kid. And I feel like the digestion scene had a little bit of that kind of vibe to it and freaked me out. Nope.
You saw Killer Clowns is Back,
I did.
right? Okay.
I did. You know, that's my favorite Halloween Horror Nights maze of all time. When are we going?
Between me and you, I think September 8th.
No. I'm going to be in Toronto.
Oh, that's when the special day is.
Boo.
Well, I'll go again.
Happens during Toronto. Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'll do it again.
I'm going to make you go again.
I love that place. Yeah.
It's the really like one of the absolute best LA events all year. Travis is here. New Hellraiser is R for gore and graphic nudity. Thoughts / level of excitement. Was this new news?
I mean, maybe like it was never announced, but I guess presumed it was going to be gory. But for me, a Hellraiser movie probably should be talking about ratings and talking about what you can get away with and what fits a movie. The sadomasochist torture of Hellraiser probably should have an R rating at all times.
Yeah, I would be surprised if it did not have this rating.
But no, I'm excited for it. Again, we're seeing in a kind of like Prey mentality, like we're seeing what these streamers can do on like a smaller budget, but with more freedom. Yeah. So I feel like, let them swing. This is going to be some kinky, weird, bloody shit. And
this one is also a Hulu original. So if Prey, speaks to the quality of this movie at all, and hopefully it does, we're in good shape. For more information, the project is currently being described as a loyal yet evolved reimagining of Clive Barker's 1987 horror classic. I think it could be an evolved and loving reimagining. Yeah,
I think it'll be a loving like you can lovingly reimagine Hellraiser. It's just
I think so.
How we define love is very different.
Every time I describe like a really bloody, violent horror movie, like it was beautiful and I adored it. I'm like, those are weird words to apply, but it's my truth. I'm speaking my truth.
Barbarian's getting some hype talking about people talking about things.
I know. I'm like, I mean, good for them. Good for them. I don't want to take away from anyone's enthusiasm. I'm a little surprised. All right. Next. I think we're caught up on
Yep, we're caught up. Sorry,
I think we might be. What else do we have? The Wednesday trailer was real damn good.
Oh, fun.
It was beautiful.
I didn't know what to expect from the show. I mean, like beyond Burton-esque shit. Like there were certain elements where like, how are they going to do it? And I went from having minimal interest, I would say, just saying like, let's see what happens. That first trailer sold me over and over.
Yeah.
Like,
it just looks exceptional. Like I love the story and everything, and I believe in all the actors, but I kept pausing and then I kept rewinding and rewatching certain frames. It looks real damn good. I recorded a ladies' night with Christina Ricci immediately after that dropped, so I was like very excited to. Meanwhile, like she didn't get the chance to watch it, and I'm busy like blabbing about how excited I am about her show. But she gave me a really nice quote about jumping back into that world and how much she appreciated being included in it. And I will share that soon. But I'm so excited for that show.
Yeah, it just looks like Burton's having a lot of fun with it in a way that totally fits like the gothic atmosphere of the whole show. And we just get that opening scene of like how Wednesday is the fact that it's not pulling any punches. Like that first scene where she throws the piranhas in the swimming pool and gets the bullies. Like I like that it's kind of going for shit.
There's no one better for that role than Jenna Ortega.
No, Ortega was perfect in it. She looks so good.
Her.
Just like the dead eyes and just the way she just says things. And it's just like, yes, I just murdered a child. Like, it's fine. Like, not actually murdered, but using an example.
You want to jump from one trailer to another?
We can.
Did you like the Cobra Kai trailer?
I was talking to Amelia right after watching it. I'm like, I can't believe how much I care about this dumb show at this point. And I say that lovingly because like I was never a Karate Kid fan, nothing. I had no kind of nostalgia for this product. And then we're at the point now for a season 5 trailer where I'm like so invested in the rivalries and I'm so invested in all this stuff.
I love this show so much. There's like a lot of interesting like teased story points or potential ones in there. I'm like very curious to see how the Robbie Miguel relationship evolves. It feels like, I don't know. I mean, I guess I've kind of been saying this about Johnny and Daniel for 5 seasons now. I'm like, well, at a point they need to resolve their shit and just like
but do they
work together? But like they keep butting heads, and like it is kind of interesting to think about that because I feel like the neatest version of this story is like 2 opposing people who like butted heads and really hated each other eventually have to come together and learn to work together at some point, right? But like really maybe they don't. Maybe they just have to learn to be civil, and maybe their mentalities and their ways of teaching karate never have to go hand in hand 24/7, And I think that would be a pretty interesting path for this show to pursue. But I do feel like there needs to come a point where Miguel and Robbie see eye to eye. Like I'd be surprised if that was not where this season ended.
And because I agree, like you can do the stuff with the adults, but with the children, I think it is important to show that like the new generation can learn from the past generation's mistakes. So I think that would be leading into it where maybe the adults continue butting heads in a way, and that is their own fault, and we acknowledge that is their fault, and then the kids like realize that as well, and that's how they come together. But no, I mean, just again, the rivalry of like Cobra Kai taking over, and there's these lines where like it was supposed to end after the tournament, and then like another kid's getting bullied, and like rival kids are standing up, and everyone's getting like involved. So I can't believe I care as much as I do about Cobra Kai that like started as a YouTube original and now is like one of Netflix's like I don't know if it's one of their biggest properties, but I feel like it's super popular.
What do you think about the September release date?
I'm happy for it because we get it earlier. I don't think it was necessary. I think it probably would have been better saved for December like usual.
I think they might have made a mistake. I'm not gonna say that a different release date is gonna completely change everything, and now it's gonna get no viewers, because I don't think that's realistic, and I think it has a very, very dedicated and growing fan base, and I think that it's still gonna do very well during September. And also, admittedly, I can't tell if this is like a fully accurate assessment of the show's potential dependent on when it's being released, or if it's me liking the feeling that I had the past couple of years of having New Year's be a Cobra Kai celebration as well. But there was something to me about the time of year that it was released that like made the holiday season feel like Cobra Kai season. And I think because everyone had so many consecutive days off, that the chatter and the chatter was so loud and the focus on it was so intense.
Oh, true.
And I would think a show would be better off to have that again, but they've changed it.
And now it's up against way more competition versus.
I need to walk this back.
Okay.
I've added another angle to this because of what we were just talking about earlier with the movie release schedule. Because now that theaters are opening up more, now it'll have more big budget movies to contend with during the holiday season, which it didn't have in past years.
True.
Meanwhile, we were just talking about how end of August all through September is a little bit of a lull. So I guess I've just completely ruined my original argument now.
But isn't there way more television competition technically with She-Hulk and
there's a whole lot of that too. She-Hulk, Rings of Power, House of the Dragon, probably more things. Those are just what are fresh on my mind right now.
So to me, it would be almost like, wouldn't you want to take on the movies versus take on all these other episodics that you're going up against? Because it's like the conversation of saying it was Star Wars versus Stranger Things. And I think Netflix is just really cocky about their products and saying, whenever we put them on, you're going to watch. And I feel like that's going to start burning them at some point.
Are we just basically saying that there's like no hope unless you are the biggest of the big shows?
Yeah. Yes, that is exactly, I think, what we're saying. Which I think they are trying to test to see if Cobra Kai is one of those. I think that
I feel like that's proven at this point, 4 seasons in.
Yeah, but again, against what? Like it's against whatever competition they had in the other slots, and now they're putting it in a more primetime slot and saying, I hope we're going to get the same numbers.
I don't like cancellations. Cancellations just make me so sad.
I ain't talking about cancellations. I'm just talking about shows that now have more competition to deal with.
All I want right now is for HBO Max to announce that they're giving Pretty Little Liars Original Sin a season 2. And I just like HBO Max makes me so nervous. And I keep seeing the fan base chatter on social media, and people seem super into it. But like, does that kind of talk really reflect the possibility of like a Warner Brothers associated thing at this point being renewed? Oh, I would be so mad if they didn't continue.
Because we're also hearing from fans. Like, we're hearing from fans who we know, and like in our Twitter circles and things that we see. Like
not who I know in that case. Like I was following along a good deal of like the hashtags and stuff to try to keep up with theorizing and how people are reacting to big reveals. So I'm not necessarily in this case talking about like our bubble.
Got it. I still think I don't trust anything online because everyone hated Emily in Paris online, but everyone watched it, and that's why we got more of it. So like that's the whole thing, like I don't know.
I just saw someone drop Yellowjackets. Yeah, I need to watch Abbott Elementary still, but Yellowjackets had a lot of cool news.
Yeah,
you watched it, right, Matt?
I did.
Okay, just I'm very excited that confirmation has been given that we are getting an older Van and an older Letty. And now Elijah Wood is in the show.
I love that casting, and I love the character.
A citizen detective.
Like, he's going to be just as weird and quirky and all that stuff. And it's going to be, I think that's the one that surprises me the most, because obviously it's a character we weren't expecting. So all of a sudden we get Elijah Wood added to the cast and playing this role we weren't ready for. So that's the one that I'm excited for all of them. Do not get me wrong.
I love how that news.
Like, hell yeah.
I love how that news about Elijah Wood had to drop a day or two after I spoke to Christina Ricci.
Oh my god,
It's
that
like
would have been
it's like I did ask her about the casting of older Van and Lottie, but it's like that's not the question I should have asked her. I needed to ask her about this. I'm so curious. Not that she would have been able to, spoil anything, but the idea of Misty's journey continuing with another important person in her life, I would assume that is like a very fascinating addition to this puzzle to me.
And it's becoming more of a puzzle, which is fun because it's like all of a sudden we think things are kind of figured out in some sort of way, and then a new character comes in and you're like, okay, how is this going to change things up?
I'm still going with my original prediction real hard. I know how Amelia feels about this, but I just saw Ian's thing and it just distracted me, but I like that. I'm a big believer that there are no supernatural elements in Yellowjackets.
I cannot agree with you or disagree it. Obviously,
So you're not playing my game, is what you're saying?
I think there are. I'm going to go on the side that there are.
Okay.
I think there's too much weird stuff going on.
We'll see. The mind plays tricks on
Mind
people.
does play deadly tricks, but I don't know.
Okay.
I maybe because I want it to be, maybe because I want there to be supernatural thrown in there. So like this might just be my own my own creative thought process going forward. But
all right. Look who we have here. We have Caleb.
We got a few.
What can we talk fantasy football? Well, the draft is going to get locked for next Sunday. I have to finish that.
Yep.
I am incredibly stressed about what I'm going to do with my draft.
Can't wait.
I have no strategy, Matt.
No,
every single time I think of a strategy, I'm like, that's the wrong strategy, and I shouldn't do that again. Last year really threw me off.
I'm going to come into this, and the strategy is going to be whatever player is best at the moment I'm going to pick.
I forgot who said it, but someone we were chatting with was like, if I learned anything from last year, it's that the auto draft is better than anything I could do.
That was Mark Harris. Yeah.
I mean,
he was like, auto drafted a better team than me.
Yeah.
You overthink things. I overthink all the time. I'm like, this guy's going to be the best because proper to Bob.
I overthink everything. Fantasy football and beyond.
We'll do this one, and we lost the other
one. Wait, which one did we?
There was just one more higher up, but we'll get to it.
Okay.
I got it.
My bad. Is there new elements of this lineup?
No, it's the one that came out. So it's like Smile is opening night.
The
new McDonough.
No one's more excited for Smile than my mom.
I am so curious about Smile. Let's put it that way.
I'm excited for Smile.
But yeah, there was a lot of indie stuff thrown in there. That
Bones and All. The Menu.
That's right.
The Menu I know will be at TIFF. VHS 99.
Yeah, see that.
Quite the director list on that one.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one.
New Jason Eisner movie, Kids versus Aliens. If you know how I feel about his VHS segment,
it sounds like it sounds like that segment just blown bigger. So that's
I want that. I want that ASAP. Triangle of Sadness.
There's some good stuff. Yeah.
There's a lot of good stuff here.
To cover.
Which one did I miss?
There was one.
Caleb.
Yes.
Oh, I see. It was Devante. Hey guys, saw some critics mentioned they don't trust initial horror critic reviews as they're worried about branding and connections. Too generalized, to be honest. Like as in critics are worried about giving negative reviews because it will jeopardize their connection and branding opportunities. Is that what this is implying?
It's implying there's a difference between a film critic and a horror critic, and film critics who are better than us think that we give horror movies the pass because we're worried about branding and connections.
What?
Yep. It's just more bullshit.
Okay, so I guess. So I guess
like there are tiers of critic.
Oh my God, this is making my brain melt right now. This makes absolutely no sense to me. I mean, it really just sounds like another way of saying you're a Disney shill.
Yeah. So basically it's the whole thing of pretension of the horror industry, all this this is a thing that is happening. People think that horror critics are not as important as regular critics. So these other more prestigious critics say things like this so that it makes their opinion sounds better and it makes horror sound stupid. I don't know. Fuck them.
I just because I don't really get these kinds of comments on TikTok, surprisingly, compared to other social media platforms. But I posted a short reaction to She-Hulk, and one of the comments said that, like, of course you have to like it, otherwise you lose your access to screeners. And like, my only reply is, like, I've been doing this for over a decade. If that fact were true, I would have no access to screeners anymore. Like, that is just like an absolute true fact. If anything, folks thought about, you know, shilling for a company was true and only getting access to things if you're only positive about a studio's product. It's just, that's not how it works.
Also, if I was getting paid off for these reviews, I wouldn't have a day job. And I very much do. Like, if I had that sweet Marvel money or that sweet whatever, Resident Evil money, apparently they paid me a ton to write that article for IGN. I would not be doing anything involved in any of this.
The real truth of it is sometimes when I talk to folks who work on the other side of the business and represent these movies, and like, yeah, like a little part, I'm always a little sad when I have to write back to them like, sorry, I didn't really like the movie that you're working on. But a lot of them will always say like, listen, I hear you. I really always, like, truly always appreciate your honesty. Like, honesty is important. What are you looking at?
Oh, who the fuck was Dan Morel? Fuck him. Yeah, I don't care that Dan Morel said that.
What are we talking about?
Muriel basically said that horror critics go softer on horror movies or have a natural bias towards them. We don't have a natural bias towards them.
Where are you seeing this? Who put the
Horizon?
Is this on Twitter? I'd be surprised if he made such a generalization.
No, I would not be surprised. It's on Twitter most likely.
I like Dan though. He's a good dude. I'm just trying to find where this is. I don't see anything. So Horizon, if you want to share the tweet, we will happily look at it. But I do not see anything. So I will leave that be and go back to Hoshi. Hoshi's here. What is your ideal Predator pitch? This is going to make my brain go off Final Destination again. I would love to see a Predator versus Samurai or a Predator versus Spartans. They should keep this historical aesthetic. Love your show as always. Thanks, Perri, Amelia, and Matt. I like Hoshi's idea, and I'll go back to, I think, what they were toying around with for Final Destination, the Dark Ages, like an old ship or something. Apparently, I just want people to be trapped on boats with murderous things. This Merri Hour.
I keep thinking about that one, and like. Pirates would be fun, but I feel like Pirates is hard.
Pirates would be
would be super fun.
Because I need to also remind myself that a Predator would only be in a location if it deemed whatever else was there like a worthy foe.
Like, I'm stuck on it because there's so many different ways to go with it, but there's so many. Like, I mean, Prey proves that you can do it with whatever kind of period you want to do it with. Like, there's no limitations here.
What if a Predator accidentally dropped itself in the middle of like a paintball game or something?
I mean, there has to be actual chance for survival. It cannot be a paintball game.
No, it's like, we'll go ambling with it. A Predator thinks that like Child's laser tag is real laser tag, and you have like a Predator movie with a Stranger Things vibe, and the kids have to get resourceful and take down the Predator even though they're playing with laser tag guns.
Yeah, no. You need actual weapons and you need an actual chance for survival. that is definitely
find other weapons. I'm trying to think of like what else could be like an appropriate situation for a Predator to be in.
I think more like I keep going towards more modern. Like someone said like World War II. That would be an interesting kind of drop in.
That could be something. I like this idea though. That's part of the reason why I like Prey so much too, because I think it just like, not that these possibilities weren't there before, but I think it just blew the doors wide open to a million other opportunities to make more Predator movies that we weren't really tapping into before.
I just think there should be more Western horror, so I'm just going.
I like Western horror.
Like, give me some kind of Western Predator film and put the Predator in a Western hat.
Cowboys.
But
I mean, but
Predator
really,
in a
like
10-gallon hat.
like a modern cowboy movie. It makes me feel like Nope a little bit.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
No.
Yep.
No.
I would pay to see that.
All right. Do we want to move on to our next story?
Yeah, what else do we have?
Horizon did reply. Basically, he said softer on horror movies or have a net.
But it's not a bias. Like like here's the thing. And I'm sorry. If he did not say this, then this is not directed at him. It's whoever said it. Like a horror critic who specializes in horror and watches horror over and over is going to view horror movies in a different lens than a general quote unquote normal critic. Like if a critic is going to avoid horror on a large basis and only review a few mainstream horror films to hit, you know, whatever their assignments are, of course they're going to have a different perspective than someone who actually like enjoys the horror genre much more. Like a bias is the stupidest thing to say. Like that, like to say that there's bias between that and like, God,
saying someone has biased does not equal something reflecting someone's personal taste either. Because I feel like if you are to apply this same comment to pretty much any genre or any franchise, then literally every person on the planet, whether they're a professional critic or not, would have some sort of natural bias. And you know, you could also flip it around and look at it the other way. If the two of us are massive, massive horror fans, maybe we'll be even more critical of horror movies because we see so many and hold them to a higher standard. I mean, you can't make a blanket statement like that.
And Rick dropped a comment a little higher up, and Rick's comment is very true. Anyone who read Matt's Army of the Dead review knows he's not getting paid off. Like literally, I am the hardest on this genre because like I do love it so much. And that's the thing. Like,
hi Rick.
Hi Rick. Again, whoever said it, I am again. If that was not Dan, that's not Dan. So whoever did say that comment. It's just the pretension that exists in this critic circle. And like, that is the dumbest thing to say, that like, I feel like being a film critic, like you almost get more hate from other critics than you do online because everyone's kind of just like fighting for each other. And I don't know. I see pretension in every day. And like, I think the tweets that hurt me most are the ones that like, not to say like hurt, but like the ones I read that go like, wow, that kind of sucks. It's always from mutuals and it's always from other critics who would rather just make a point themselves than like actually care about like other critics.
I really think one of the biggest things that everyone needs to do, whether you're in the critic circle or you are just, you know, watching and ingesting other people's reviews, is distancing the idea of personal taste and what makes your opinion different from others from this idea of having a bias. Because if we all didn't have personal taste and preferences, criticism, and I guess in turn film and television in general, would be like pretty damn boring. So we just need to stop applying that negative word to someone having personal taste.
Yeah, it's the pretension. It's the pretension that gets me. I'm a better critic because I don't like horror. Yeah, you can go fuck yourself. How about that?
Oh my God, I can't handle that right now. Mumra, hi. Have you two seen the Jurassic World extended edition? I meant to. I have not had the chance just yet, but it is a top priority. I really do want to see it.
Amelia just got the giant Jurassic World box set with like the new statue and all that stuff.
Oh, that thing looks so cool.
Yeah.
I still need to get my Dilophosaurus poster framed. I meant to, like, I literally, the second I got that poster in the mail, I rushed over to the framing guy that I use, and he was closed that day, and it just threw me off, and I still haven't. I
just got my fun little Chuck. I didn't hang it up yet. I'll show it when I hang it up. But I got my fun little Chucky doodle.
Yeah, but one from Vincent. Inaccurate Dan would never say. I don't know. I can't confirm whether or not he was the one who said that. But even if it
like
is
I said,
some sort of idea that exists out there.
There were two other names dropped in the chat. I was going to say there were two names I won't repeat dropped in the chat that if they said it, I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, we're not here to fight other critics, but they can. I know.
I'm avoiding reading some of the other things I see right now. Did we have Beast? Before we wrap up, do you want to tell everyone what you thought of Beast? And so will I.
Yeah, that's fine. We can. So I think Beast is effective, I think is the way to say it. It gives you what's sold on the poster. And it's one of those films where you go in, maybe expectations are not super high. It's Idris protecting his family from a raging lion. And in that regard, it works. The line for me is good. It makes me think of The Shallows, where like you put enough money into a computerized lion that actually looks, feels, it belongs there. You're never taken out by that. Idris is selling himself super well. I think he does a really good job as like the torn father who is trying to win his kids back and also defeat a lion. And those elements all work really well, and everything else doesn't that much. So like I'm torn on the sense that like
what else is left?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of like preamble, like all of, like the family drama stuff. I think the dream segment is a little over the top.
Admittedly, the dream segment was the only bit that I think didn't like quite achieve what I think its purpose was, or maybe as well as it could have. But I get.
Yeah, it was just more the sense of like, it's one of those creature features that gets stuck with these characters making insane decisions just to make the plot advance. And I get that like it's paranoia and fear and you're just acting on impulse, but there's still a lot of stuff in there where I'm like, all right, like you're having fun and I get it, but it didn't always fit the tone. Like I feel like there were two films they were going back and forth.
Really?
Where I just thought there was a fight between them.
Okay. I don't know if I felt the tonal inconsistency as much, but the dream thing is probably the one thing I'll nitpick. I think that element of the movie could have been a bit stronger, but like in general, I'll agree. Like, I think that it did exactly what it sold to everyone, and I think it did it pretty damn well. I'm very impressed by how that totally digital lion looks. Like, there is a scene where Sharlto Copley is legit hugging this fake lion, and you could practically see his fingers move through the fur in a really realistic way, and that is an incredible accomplishment. But on top of that, the other thing that really impressed me about this movie is that almost every single scene is shot in a oneer, like incredibly complex oneers that sell the environment and the geography of a scene very effectively, which is super important when you have a lion stalking characters in a car, let's say. And the shots were also beautiful and just very well suited the tension and the thrill of the whole situation. So I don't know. I thought it was just like, I thought this movie was kind of like better than it had any right to be. I thought it was going to be a pretty, like basic, passable, like fun B movie. But I think there's certain elements of it that elevate it beyond that and prove to be way more impressive than I was anticipating.
I guess I was stuck, one of our recent examples of a wildlife, standoff film is Crawl. And like, I adore Crawl.
Yeah, I love Crawl.
It's so good. And to me, like in doing the comparison where like Crawl could have been just another, Gators versus family arc. And to me, what they accomplish in Crawl with the storytelling behind it and with like the motivations and the character interactions, all that stuff, like there is just so much more justification. They do like, there's a lot more connected dots. And I feel like it's just a tighter all around film where I watch Beast and I'm like, okay, you do the animal stuff right. Like you do, like, don't get me wrong. I like it. And I agree with you on the animation. Like it's all great. I'm just taken out by some of the other elements and the way that it keeps dancing around. And like, I didn't think there was as strong a bond between Idris and the kids and, the characters in Crawl. So that's kind of maybe unfair to say it's a comparison, but in the same sense, I feel like there are a lot of similarities and that's why I ended up doing it.
I get it. I mean, I much prefer Crawl, but I still clearly like Beast. The one other thing that I wanted to add about Beast was I thought one thing that they did especially well was make the lion feel like a threat where you were rooting for the protagonist, the human protagonist, but without ever letting you forget that the only reason that the lion was behaving like that was because fucking shitty poachers killed off his pride. And that is a very difficult thing to balance nonstop, and they very much do that.
And they do the ending correctly, which I won't say, but like with that in mind, they do it. So like I think they're very conscious of the human element, let's say, of how that works, and then also the like animalistic element. Like it does the Beast stuff correct. So like I said, like for me, it's like a 3 out of 5. It gets
Go
my
higher.
pass a little. Yeah.
I'd probably do like a 3.5. 3.5,
Okay.
maybe.
That's
Yeah,
fair.
3.5.
Because
I'll
like
stick with that.
crawl for me is 4. Like crawl for me
Crawl
is
for me
like,
is like a 4 or 5. I was obsessed with Crawl and still am.
yeah. So
All right, we got some
also,
super chats
yeah.
that can take us out. Oh, I'm sorry, I cut you off. What else?
No, I was gonna say just go watch Orphan First Kill.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that movie too. I need
Yeah.
to watch it. I keep hearing the best things about it.
I wouldn't say it's the best, but let's just say it is a prequel that has no right to be as good as it does.
Okay.
And the way that it actually does that, if you like twists in Orphan, I mean, Orphan First Kill follows suit.
I'll take that. Sign me up. Annabelle's here. Nice seeing everyone in good spirits. Any early thoughts on Wendell and Wild? Also, don't worry, darling. Have a rockin' weekend, you glorious duo. I'm excited for both. Sign me up for Henry Selick, anything and everything. And same with Olivia Wilde. I got a whole lot of faith in her as a director. I'm excited to see her expand and try new things, bigger things and different genres, because you all know how I feel about Booksmart. So these are high up on my most anticipated list at the moment.
Yeah, I will see both of those. that is my my early thought on those films is I can't wait to see them.
Yes, I am right there with you. We also have Vincent saying great show as always. Also love Sandman. I liked Sandman.
Yeah.
I loved parts of Sandman. And there's some parts that like didn't really work for me, but I did love some chunks of it.
Yeah,
did you watch the new stuff?
I didn't.
I didn't either.
Amelia stayed up. I had a 7 a.m.
Of course.
call, so
yeah, I had a feeling she'd be very
sleepy
dedicated
time
to doing that.
She adored it. So high marks from the actual Sandman fan in the apartment.
Yep. We got one more.
Oh, more.
Then we'll peace out. This is from JG. Hope you all are doing well. I am having an incredible time introducing a friend to horror, and now he's a huge fan. Showed him Nope, It, Hereditary, and Scream. JG, you are a good friend who gives good horror recommendations, because that list is A+. That makes me happy.
Yeah. I mean, there's plenty to go after that, so.
All right. Someone's got din time with a parent.
Yeah.
Oh no!
One more.
One more. Can screeners hurt your first viewing experience with watermarks, text, unfinished CGI, or does seeing it early make up for that? No. I can 1,000,000% confirm that seeing something early has absolutely no bearing on my assessment of that movie or show whatsoever.
Yeah, I'd rather see it later with finished CGI and stuff like that.
Also, I will say that I feel like now that I say this, I'm going to jinx myself. I'm going to wind up with a really shitty watermark in the future.
Oh my! You don't say it. I've had some new ones recently.
I'm going to say it because I actually did have one watermark that I'm like, well, this one kind of sucks. But the thing that I was watching was good enough that I forgot about it.
I've had ones with 3 watermarks where it's my email, it's the company's name, and it's the movie's title, and like they're in different spots, so they've taken over the entire screen. So like, yeah, no, I would much rather see it later in a theater than I would on those watermarks. Sometimes it's not as fun to get things early.
All right.
That's my answer.
I'll take that answer. Before we sign off, do you want to plug anything? Working on anything
Same
cool?
stuff. Donato Bomb, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. I write Scariest Scene. I just wrote about Nope today, so go read that. And then I have just reviews are going to keep flying in. It's the best way to say it.
All right, I would expect no less from you. I will plug that the newest Ladies' Night that just went up is with Chandler Kinney, who plays my favorite character in Pretty Little Liars: Original Sin. She plays Tabby, and Tabby is the biggest movie fan. And let me tell you, Matt, this actor drops movie references like a damn pro. You know how sometimes people can say movie references in shows and movies and it just lands with a thud, like they're just saying it to say it. She manages to do it and it makes it feel like it comes across with such natural passion. So she was wonderful. And then hopefully dropping tomorrow afternoon will be the Christina Ricci one, which has a whole lot of Yellowjackets info and also a lot of info on her experience growing up in the industry as a child actor. So check that out as well. That is it.
Yeah.
We're out of here. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy weekend. We will see you next Friday with a brand new Merri.